Hey everybody, this is Saul,
And this is Daniel
and this is the Local Drunks.
podcast.
You can find us at Local Drunks Pod on Instagram, also at YouTube, and also
Patreon.
That's right.
Give us some money. We're poor.
look for Local Drunks Pod. We $5 a month get you a sneak peek behind the scenes. I'm just gonna start throwing unedited stuff up there.
Oh yeah.
Just because it's taking me a long time to edit it. I got stuff to do. I got kids and stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll just jump right into it. So we usually go about what we've been up to. Also, quick, I'm going to talk about what I watched yesterday really fast.
Yeah.
And what that is going to be a movie called Delicious. It is a French movie, and it's about a chef. He used to work for a duke in around 1789, the eve of the French Revolution. And what ended up happening was he ends up getting fired by this duke in his kitchen. And he ends up taking over his father's inn. His father passed away a few years ago, and he comes in and he takes over this inn, opens it up, and it's a classic just stop in between, cities or in between other inns. And he ends up applying his knowledge and his know-how to really change the food that the inn serves, and also all these other things, and just service in general. And he ends up opening like a restaurant. It's a historical fictional drama or comedy.
That sounds fun. It's a comedy too.
Yeah, it's a comedy.
That
Yeah,
sounds
there's some
pretty
stuff that kind of like
Stanley
it's like
Tucci in it?
classic. Yes, I wish. Tooch should be in it. Him and the guy who plays Monk.
Oh yeah.
Should be in everything.
Yeah, I like that guy's weird.
Yeah, Tony Shalhoub.
Shalhoub. Don't forget to Shalhoub it up.
Shalhoub it all over the place. But it's a pretty good movie. I definitely recommend it. It's on Amazon Prime if you Prime Video if you subscribe to Amazon Prime. It's an hour and a half. It's like a cute little movie.
Sounds solid.
Yeah, I got done watching it. It does make you hungry because it is like
Dude,
classic
yeah.
hearth style cooking.
All that
And all
roasted
these
meat.
other things, roasted meats. Yeah, like there's always a shot when he's in the kitchen of just like ducks and chickens just on a,
It's like you had Sunday night.
yeah. Oh yeah. just on a rotisserie in the back and stuff. It's pretty interesting. On the spit. But yeah, no, definitely if you have a sandwich while you're watching it, you'll probably be all right.
That sounds fine. Fantastic.
But yeah, it's not too bad. It's like I said, hour and a half. Classic French happy ending, where it's kind of just a happy ending, but not really.
Well, if it's classic French, then somebody's dead and it's complete depression.
Yeah.
But
Those are family movies. Those are French family movies.
Yeah. Those are great.
Yeah.
I often dream about retiring at the age of 34.
Yeah.
And just going out to the middle of nowhere and starting an Airbnb. And it sounds nice hypothetically, but then who knows what it actually is. I want like a cool little farm, like a compound essentially, where all my friends can just come visit and hang out, and I just cook for them for like the weekend, and then they all leave again.
And man the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
From the compound. Yeah?
Exactly.
All right.
Man the wall.
Jim Jones.
Hell yeah. Make sure to come for my Kool-Aid.
Yeah. It's a house specialty.
It's got plenty of arsenic.
Why is it so gritty? Just drink it. Just
Don't try
drink
to
it.
leave.
Yeah.
There's people in the bushes.
Ask me that question in 5 minutes. If you
Damn.
can.
Damn. That's cold-blooded.
And then the other thing that we ended up doing was this past Sunday, Fernet is doing a collect stamp. It's not like a challenge because they don't say it's a challenge, but they've picked seven bars in San Francisco, R Bar, Bus Stop, Kilowatt, Bender's, Harlan Records, and the Showdown. And then also the 7th was 1015 Folsom. 1015 Folsom's actually where they're doing a music show on the 20th. So that one actually wasn't available for punching that day. But we ended up actually hitting Bender's and working our way up, hit Kilowatt. And then we ended up jumping to R Bar really quickly, heading over to Harlan. Then we hit the Showdown. We hit Bus Stop Laughs because that was kind of like in between Pacific Heights and the Marina. And we got tanked. It was a pretty good day.
It's a fun time.
Got a shot of Fernet at each one, stamped in, and then we got this little VIP thing. The thing that surprised me was because the very first 100 people who did this were able to get like a VIP package, which is like a free shirt or sweatshirt or whatever, and then like a guitar pick.
Yeah.
And it was surprising that it starts July 20th. It ends August 20th. It's a full month, and we're 2 weeks in, and we're, 20 days in?
Yeah.
And 100 people hadn't done it yet.
I thought it was I thought it was the opposite. I thought we had already hit the limit, and we're only able to purchase things online for 50% off.
Yeah.
But is that just an inclusion to the VIP package?
It's an inclusion to the VIP package, and then you also get a free item. So there's like 2 codes they send you.
That's pretty cool.
And the top code was the VIP item, which is like you pick, I think, anything.
Sick.
And then the bottom one was 50% off of everything else you wanted.
If I would have known that, I would have actually gathered the stickers. That's unfortunate.
We were having some technical difficulties because this man has a flip phone from 2008.
Yeah, I got the Razor.
He's got the Motorola back before they were bought by.
I got the Boost Mobile.
Yeah.
Where you at?
Oh no, it was Microsoft that bought Nokia. They didn't buy Motorola. That's right.
I got the Zoom. I still have my Zoom.
You got that Nokia brick, the doorstop.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty fun hanging out. You know, everyone kind of has Fernet and San Francisco go hand in hand. It's like the top 2 cities that sell the most Fernet in like the world or something like that. So everyone has a Fernet and cheap beer option for like $10, which is nice.
That was
you
a cool
go
little
in,
deal.
you throw a
shot
10,
and beer.
throw a 10, throw an extra couple bucks for the bartender, or buy them a shot as well. And then that's usually, and it is called the Secret Handshake Tour. It was really fun. So if you end up listening to this and it's not over yet, try to hit it. Like I said, extremely surprised that not 100 people have done it yet. I thought by the time we started doing it, I think we found out on the way over. Angel had said, "Oh, it's only for the first 100 people. Like you get free stuff." And we're like, "Well, that's not going to be us because it started the July 20th, and it was
I imagined every techie that
August
works from
4th.
home just booked every Uber to make a chain to gather that thing.
Yeah.
Turns out they don't really drink that much.
Yeah, I was kind of nervous because the very first stop we were there for like an hour, and I was like, "Man,
we took our sweet ass time."
I was like, "We're never gonna get this done."
Nah.
And even Angel was like, "Yeah, we've been here a long time," and I'm like, "Yeah, why are we here a long time?"
Right.
Well, they ordered a pizza from the guy out front, which is a pretty decent pizza.
It's pretty good.
And then we had a little pepperoni and jalapeno.
Yeah, it's pretty spicy.
And we got our drinks, and then Wes showed up like 5 or 10 minutes later, and then we were just kind of just chilling, and I was like, "We gotta go.
Yeah,
this is not the vibe." No, this. I was like, "We gotta go. This is gonna take us way too long."
Oh yeah. Hour every place too. We'd be done at midnight. At
yeah, dude.
2 a.m.
Even worse, like even later. I think we ended up getting done at like 11:30 or 11:30.
Then we got back to Oakland like 12.
12:30.
We had to go back to the car.
12:15. Yeah.
And finagle our way back in to the lot.
Yeah, I remember getting to the lot and just being like, "Dang, is it gonna be open?"
Spencer thought it was close to the bar. It was like 3 miles away from everything. Motherfucker basically rented a spot in Daly City to park his car.
I was like, "Hey," he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna drive, and then there's a garage right around the corner from the first bar." It was like half the city away.
Yeah.
I was like, "What is going on?" He goes, "Oh, sorry guys, I didn't know." I'm like, "No, you didn't know."
It's like Google Maps lied to me.
Yeah, it looks smaller and it looks smaller on the map,
in, bro.
Yeah, dude, everything looks smaller on the map, bro.
yeah. That's what they tell them.
You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so yeah, but that was pretty fun, and then I still got to get my free swag.
Oh.
And then I'll order that, and then I'll show it off during one of the video things.
Hell yeah,
so that's pretty fun.
See that? So you get a T-shirt and a guitar pick, is that right?
T-shirt and a guitar pick, but I think Angel said that the T-shirt you can get a sweatshirt if you want. You can get whatever you want.
Sweatshirts sound pretty cool.
So yeah, and then I might get a hat or something, so I could be Fernetted out.
Favorite bar, least favorite bar.
Favorite bar.
I already know the answer to this.
Was Harlan Records.
That was fantastic.
I think Harlan Records was really fun. We walked in and Daniel was like, "Oh, I think I've been there before."
I've been there before. It was a different place. It was a comedy club. Well, they used to host Comedy Hour.
Yeah, they had the stage set up. They just do chairs all around it, or like a booth seating all around it.
Yeah, they just made a banquet within the stage now.
Yeah.
And so you can sit up there and look down on the peons.
Yeah.
But it was, the records were really cool.
Records are cool. The bar was very pretty.
It was very nice.
Well stocked. It just felt clean. It felt clean, but it didn't feel so clean that it felt sterile.
It's like a Tokyo listening bar.
Yeah, Tokyo listening bar type vibe.
Not as good as Showdown though.
Yeah, yeah. And then Showdown is probably my least favorite bar, and it's just because the bartender was.
But you can't be a bartender and not have a sense of humor.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah. So yeah, the bartender was kind of just uptight, which I can understand why they're working on a Sunday night, because usually. Not to break it to anybody, but if you're usually working Sunday night shifts through Wednesday night shifts at any type of bar,
you ain't making no money. You're not that good.
Yeah, you might not be the best bartender that works there.
Yeah, you get the B shifts, my friend.
Yeah, like I like the money shifts are like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday brunch, and Sunday brunch is still even like a stretch because usually you just throw bodies at that place. It doesn't really matter because you're just trying to do as much, have as much turnover as possible. But but Sunday night shifts all the way through. Sunday night shows and shifts like Monday night, Tuesday night. Those are kind of like throwaway days. So
you hear that? You're disposable Showdown guy.
Yeah, just in general. But I went in and I made a joke and he said something and I made a reply joke and he said something else and I was just like, these are just jokes, folks. And I looked at Angel.
Banter.
Yeah, it's called banter.
Even Angel, who's the most mild-mannered person, was just like, huh. That guy sucks.
Yeah, that guy sucks. Yeah. He goes, yeah, that guy really sucks. I'm just like, it's the way it goes, man.
Sometimes. I mean.
So, but hey, man. And then, then the bus stop. Bus stop was the last spot. And bus stop was cool. Bus stop definitely gave me kind of like a.
Kids, Marina vibe.
Mm-hmm. It kind of, a lot of wood, so it kind of gave me like a pub feel.
Yeah.
But not like more like a high dive pub feel, I guess you could say.
It's like being in the old world. Like not that English kind of.
Yeah. Not a classic pub and grub, but definitely.
Pool tables.
Yeah, pool tables in the back.
Really cool.
A lot of space for activities. And, but yeah, what about you? What is your favorite bar, least favorite bar?
I would say it was probably the same.
The same?
The initial bar that we went to, I forgot what was it called?
Bender's.
Bender's was cool. I really enjoyed Bender's. They had a good vibe. Pool tables, a lot of space. The little pizza pop-up out front was really nice. However, Harlem Bar was just sophisticated, clean, organized menu, and time and place. Sometimes I like a dive, sometimes I like that. That was a new experience for me. I've never actually been into a listening bar, but people have thrown millions of dollars into nice chairs and wood finishes, and I was just like, okay, this is pretty cool. And then Showdown was just dead. The guy was not cool, so there wasn't really much of a vibe or anything there. So it was lackadaisical. I've been there quite a few times too because I used to work in the neighborhood. And I've been there when it was busy, and it was fine. It was cool. But it's very much like a sportsy kind of situation with decent food. The chicken strips are pretty good.
Yeah, the chicken strips were good there.
Pretty good there.
I wanted to get a burger there, but
that would have been solid.
But yeah.
Yeah, but my favorite bar was probably the torta with the trompo.
Oh, yeah.
I grabbed some Mission street food in between Bender's and Kilowatt.
Yeah.
And I got it was $15, but I saw on the corner giant trompo, which is like the Arabian style, like shawarma, for those of you that may not know. But then taken by the Spanish or by Sudamerica Mexicans, making its way up to Mexico and then to the States. And they just shave off meat with the pineapple on top, which is just pork layered on. But they gave me the torta, so I had bread, beans. The beans were killer.
The beans were killer,
You tasted the beans. Those things
the
were
beans
really
are good,
good.
yeah.
And beans mean a lot in that situation. Lettuce, tomato. Then they cook the cheese a little bit. So, so that's why I have like extra umami and some mild reaction in there. Not to nerd out on the torta, but then just hella trompo meat, just a bunch of pastor. And I was just like, oh, man, this is good. Even when he took a bite out of it, and he was just like, damn, I should have got that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I should have stayed behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took a while, but the dudes were just posted up on the corner. They didn't really have a ordering system. Like, they took the tickets, but they were just like, what are we working on now? And it's just like, okay, very much a pop-up vibe.
Yeah.
So it took a minute, but it was worth it in the long run. But, yeah, so Harlem Bar, coolest experience. And then Showdown, least cool experience.
Yeah. I can see how it was Showdown because Showdown has a lot of space and has real high ceilings.
It's huge.
So I can see how it gets really popping in there. And if
busy.
It's one of those bars, like the busier it gets, probably the more fun it is. But yeah, when it's slow night and stuff and like, you got to be cool, man. You got to, and you're working At the end of the day, you're still working for tips. You know, he's not getting paid enough hourly. But you never know. That guy might be the bar manager.
Probably.
So, you know, filling in Sunday night.
Pay me salary. I don't got to be cool at all.
Yeah. He's working Sunday night because no one else wants that shift.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. Who knows? There was like 3 people in there. They're all French.
Yeah.
They don't tip. They're European.
Yeah.
They pay them a livable wage because things are less expensive over there.
Yep.
Because capitalism has run completely rampant. Nah, I digress.
Yes. So what'd you end up doing this weekend outside of the
Fernet crawl?
The Fernet crawl.
Well, I celebrated my birthday again.
Happy birthday!
I sound like
again.
I really love myself. I do, but not that much. It was just planned months in advance.
You sound like every girl on Instagram.
Yeah,
birthday
it's my birthday
month.
month. I'm going to Vegas. Gonna sit in the pool, get sunburned, and sit in other people's filth. Instead of that, I went to Comey, and
nice.
It's in Oakland, but it's in Piedmont, on Piedmont, not in Piedmont, which is like like an oasis of, I don't know, within Oakland. It's a very old school vibe to the town. But it's the only 2 Michelin Star or Michelin Star in general in the East Bay of California, in the Bay Area. And like I remember when they first got their star, it was like everyone's like, "What? A star in Oakland? Like, how the hell does that happen?" But then you go there and you're just like, "Oh yeah, absolutely, this makes complete sense." I mean, service is exquisite, food is delicious. Chef James knows what he's doing, and the bar program. I met the bar manager when I was there. His name's Howie. Was killer, and they definitely have that Michelin service. And he actually has some QPA. He opened Drexel too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's actually old friends of David Lance as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was like, small world, man. Really small world. And
I like Drexel. Drexel's a lot of fun.
Drexel's pretty cool.
The bartenders are top notch.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're all flipping us off and shit. See, now that's how you bartend.
Yeah. I literally was taking a picture of my drink, and then he just like photobombed it with a flip off.
And I was like, hell yeah.
And I was like, well, now you're the center of the photo. Let's edit this thing. That was a lot of fun. It was, I did a side note. I did a quick post about them at on my personal Instagrams for the Furnished Olive, and there's little Drexel posts, and that's a really cool spot. We got to try to get back there as soon as possible.
I mean, I live down the street, bro. You let me know. We can go on if we move to Sundays, if we move to the shop.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
That's
then we get hit.
Do.
Sunday nights we get hit bars.
That's actually a really good idea. Shit.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, Comey was awesome, fantastic. Delicious tasting menu.
It's all about me, Andrew.
A good price point too, at 110. Well, 109.
That's not bad per person.
Yeah, per person for the bar menu. Consolidated menu, just a few courses, but perfect because we still left full. We opted for the caviar supplement, which is 10 grams of Kaluga.
You and your caviar, bro.
Bro, I say I don't care about it, and honestly, I don't really care about it. But when in Rome, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm there.
Spencer is a caviar whore. He loves caviar.
Bro, I caught this man with the sturgeon trying to suck the eggs out.
Yeah, he was in the ocean.
Hunting for dinosaurs with his bare hands. Just
yeah.
Uncured.
Where do they come out?
He was in the Black Sea.
Yeah. You ever seen a sturgeon stand?
No.
He just like attaches himself to it and flips upside down and just squeezes on the ute.
He's like, best boba ever.
Yeah.
Oh no. So I opted for the caviar, but it was a tartlet, right? So it was like this cute little tartlet. I sent you a picture of it.
Yeah.
But it was like a coconut kind of, I don't know if it was, I wouldn't say custard, but cream. But it was fucking beautiful because it was sweet.
Nice.
And with that little bit of that tinge of that coconut flavor, but then with the Kaluga, they're pretty big pearls. And so it was like, salty, creamy. Yeah. Best boba ever.
Nice.
Yeah. Fantastic tartlet. But overall, the experience was fantastic. They let us try some of the empirical distillates. So one of them was the plum. They have funny names on them. 2 gentlemen that came from Noma that I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, they're Noma alum, and came up to Windsor, California, and started doing their own distillates using all kinds of crazy things. One of them to note is the Doritos one. Have you seen that one?
No.
Yeah, they did Doritos. It is funky. So they did a habanero distillate that's like really good.
Okay.
It's very strange though, because it's like you get this nose, but then you drink it, and it's so much more mild.
Mm-hmm.
But me and Spencer were both like, "Whoa, that's pretty crazy." And then we tried the plum, actually the pits, which I was just like, "Okay, cool." Like Obviously, didn't crush them because if you crush them, then you get arsenic. But
Yeah.
and
Well, then
and
you're
then
not
we never
living on
came
the
back.
edge, bro.
Yeah, and it was actually really cool. It was really nice. And then like as a last, they poured us. It was his personal stash. He poured us some. Shout out to Howie. Poured us some of the Doritos distillate, which is actually a funny story because they came to St. George and talked to Lance like, hey, can you distill this peppers for us and make a distillate so we can blend it? And he said, yeah. And he's like, and when they were hanging out, he was talking about, Lance was talking about some crazy ideas, like maybe if we did Doritos, like Cool Ranch. It was his iteration though. And he's like, next thing I know, they come out with a fucking Doritos distillate. And he was just like, son of a bitch. And I was like, oh, they got you. And he's like, yeah.
They beat you to the punch.
They beat you to the punch. They beat him to the punch.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And I was like, damn. But they're in Windsor. I'd like to go up and check them out one of these days, especially if they have NOMA alums, so that like they have everything dialed in on the palate. Or how does Dave say it? How do you say the sensory? The oral
factory. Oral factory.
It's like both taste and smell.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oleo. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Insert term here. Oh. And so I like to go check them out. But the experience overall was super cool, and yeah, highly recommend it if you're ever looking to drop some change on a nice meal. 2 Michelin Star restaurant, East Bay. Call me. Fucking cool.
Nice.
Speaking of Michelin Stars,
Mm-hmm.
they just dropped 2024 Michelin Star ratings, some big changes, and some new additions. But I think the most important one is the non-additions, and that was the most surprising.
Yeah.
But let's start with maybe just who's in.
So 3 new spots got it. 7 Adams, Kiln, and Hilda and Jesse. Cool. I think the one article I read, they talked to people who did Hilda and Jesse, and they said that they were the most surprised just because they've had kind of a tumultuous time as a restaurant.
Oh,
they
really?
do like funky brunches, but they said that they were review bombed like back on Yelp in like 2020, 2021 because of being too busy or like canceling reservations, doing all this other stuff because of COVID and all these other things. And I think people just like,
britches.
Yeah, people just
got bitter about it.
Yeah, people just got bitter about it. And then, so they were just surprised. They were the most surprised after that.
I see. That's the issue with the crowdsourcing information.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole episode on its own.
Yeah, we talk about Yelp and just how horrible it is next time.
Weigh the information, people. Read the reviews. See what the root issue is.
Yeah, pictures too, man.
Pictures, yeah.
Pictures, 1,000 words. You know, scour the pictures. Read. Don't read nothing but 5s. Don't read nothing but 1s. Read a lot of 3s.
Yeah.
Those guys are usually the most. Anyway, we'll talk about Yelp at some other time.
Right.
But yeah, 7 Adams, Kiln, and Hilda and Jesse.
Shout out to 7 Adams. My boy Topher works there. He's a line cook. Worked at Quince for years.
Nice.
Killer fucking chef. And then they are also the crew that left. What's it called? I forgot the name of the bar. Cut this segment out.
You just said it too, like a minute ago before we even started.
Marlena.
That's it.
So there was a huge fallout with Marlena, and they decided to leave and go open their own restaurant, which was called 7 Adams. And look at them now.
Yeah.
Taking it up. I've never been to Kiln, and I know that it's a fairly new restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't really know much about it. I'm also very poor, so I can't really go out and try these places.
Yeah,
so that's why you need to subscribe to our Patreon, so we can give you the information as seasoned veterans and professionals of the industry.
Very true.
Please.
Yeah, it's weird because we'll talk about history of Michelin in a second. And then the other one, Sons and Daughters, got their second.
Sons and Daughters.
Got their second star, which is really nice. But Michelin started really as just like, hey, this is, a lot of people, there's this meme that got really popular last fall where people were like, oh, the Michelin Guide, I wonder where they got that from. And it's like really, and people like, I was this, old, this day old when I found out that it was the tire company.
The actual tire company.
And and that's what it was. It was started because they was like, hey, these are places that while you're touring through Europe on your new tires, these are places you should eat at. And I feel that, and no one really knows the parameters for giving out stars or even just like saying, hey, this is just Michelin Guide listed, because they do list restaurants that just don't get stars. Stars are just like, these are the ones you can't miss.
You have 1 to 3 different
yeah.
rating. 1's if you're in the proximity. 2 if you're in the region. 3 travel for it.
Yeah,
is the rundown
pretty much. So, and no one really knows how they give out their stars. Like, it's not ambiguous, but it's definitely
It's all vibes.
yeah, it's all vibes. They're vibe ratings. The OG vibrators from the
Raiders are
40s.
just like, the vibes are off, bro.
The vibes are off. They pull a star.
Sorry, Danko.
Yeah, sorry, Tanks. Sorry, was it Omakaze?
Oh my god.
I'm like, geez. But yeah, but it's definitely weird because I understand that whole, hey, you need to go here if it's in, like you said, if it's out of the region, you need to travel to it, this and that.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things that cost, I don't think they really factor cost in. What they do, supposedly one of the rumors is it's like bang for your buck, but if I'm dropping $200 or $300 a person, that's not really bang for my buck if personally, unless the experience is absolutely life-changing.
Yeah.
But, like rich people aren't the only people who take road trips. So they always will
They just go
include
more frequently.
like there's a taco shop that's listed on the Michelin Guide in Hayward.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There was a Michelin Guide listed spot
Why are we here recording?
down in
What's
LA.
going on?
Yeah, no, seriously, down in LA with this burrito maker, and they made like $7 and $10 burritos,
Fire.
and people were just like, oh, and what it is like, oh, well, it's true to their heritage. They're a regional spot that made burritos from this place, and they used like flour made tortilla, like handmade flour tortillas, and all these other ingredients, and it really highlighted it, and it was. And people were like, oh, Michelin Star is next. I was like, not usually. I think they're very strict. When Omakase lost theirs last year and we talked about it, I was like, they're never getting that. It doesn't matter what they do. They're never going to get their Michelin Star back.
Very
and
difficult.
then, who lost in Bar Diva lost in Sushi Shin and Sushi Yoshizuni are the ones that kind of lost them along with Danko.
Ooh.
And
17
I don't
years,
believe
1
17
star.
years with having 1 star.
First in the Bay Area to get its star
Yeah.
has lost its star.
Yeah.
Huge knock to the culture.
Yeah. And then it was, it was a Zagat darling before that. And back when Zagat was king.
5 diamonds.
Yeah.
5 stars.
Yeah.
Relais Chateau.
And
Good sparkles here.
yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, the more we'll use the more one until we get sued. And then, but yeah, then that's it's very difficult to get your star back. It's very, very difficult too. And because no one really knows what goes into the grading system. So,
Right.
And plus too, most of the time when you lose your star, there's other people doing exactly what you're doing and they have stars. So they're just like, hey, like they're good, but this place might be better. So we're going to pull your star also. So like, no one really know. It sounds like I know what goes into the rating system for Michelin.
Are you a Michelin
But it's
rater?
just,
You're
I
not
am
fucking telling me, bro.
slightly.
You
Yeah.
son of a bitch.
I Michelin rate taco trucks. And,
Hell yeah.
I wish. Fuck.
You're the one that gave them the star in Mexico
I
City.
wish I did. And then,
Yeah. You'd be blowing out your guts every other week.
Guts, dude. It'd be me. Just with a toilet strapped to my ass.
I should have never went through that one.
Give me the tacos.
I knew it looked gaseous.
But yeah, no one really knows what goes into these ratings. But usually being in restaurants, especially being from a city where we don't get Michelin rated, because I think you actually have to, before I say it, I won't do it. But Michelin just doesn't go anywhere. Like, they go to bigger cities. They go to cities, I think.
Designated metropolises.
Designated metropolises. And
they just started in LA, and that was 2023.
yeah.
Like, it takes a while to even get them over there.
Yeah. Well, I think there were some places Michelin more, but then they'd only go to, I think, downtown. And that would it. And then they wouldn't go,
There was no stars there until recently, even though.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of Bib Gourmand.
Yeah.
A lot of mentions, honorable mentions.
Yeah.
But they didn't offer a star there for a while.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know how much that has to do with politics.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I heard a rumor that, you have to pay them to even come to your city in general. So, you have to hit, the tourism board for your city and then be like, hey, come and check our stuff out.
I wouldn't be
And then
surprised.
usually you, I heard the first time you come through, I read an article, way back in, the mid-aughts. And it was one of those things that, the tourism board gives them a list of restaurants to check out. And, hey, check these out. And then the next year they come back, they give you a list and they check all the restaurants that they've given stars to or even mentioned, and then they get given a new list by the tourism board, and then they hit all those spots. But no one ever knows who a Michelin rater is, or how it works in general, unless you work for them. And even those guys, I think, are kind of like resigned to secrecy in general.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's NDAs.
Yeah.
All around for those parties.
Yeah. But definitely, like, the big thing, Dango being out is definitely a little bit shocking, just because they were seen as the best restaurant in San Francisco for like a decade and a half.
Yeah.
Before, like, your Atelier Crans and your, those big
new gastronomy,
yeah,
ladled foams,
Quince, like all these other guys who kind of came in and kind of stole their thunder.
But also, if you don't change, you don't adapt. But with that being said, still, there was a very classic approach. It was very much that movie, picturesque kind of restaurant with the initial white tablecloths and yes, sir, very good, sir.
Yeah,
like that. It was that vibe. It's like, and it was one of those restaurants where it's just like you had to know somebody to get a table.
Yeah.
Socialites, San Francisco socialites. And so, when you lose something like that for that kind of establishment, it's a bit of disarray.
Yeah, it definitely throws everything all over. Like, people will be fired.
Yes.
Usually
there are changes to be made.
Yeah, automatically they usually get rid of the GM. They'll usually get rid of bar managers. Maybe the captain, or like anyone who is food runners. Like they just go down. They work themselves down the line, and then they'll just replace who they need to.
Clean house.
It's very rare that you don't get rid of servers and everything like that, because they are like, I wouldn't be surprised if service really plays a big part into it. But expect at least half the staff to probably be replaced, and then that's even if they want to keep going for a star like the next year. Like, there's never the intention. I don't think there's ever really an intention of people wanting, like, we're opening this restaurant just to get a star. I don't think there's ever that intention, but I definitely think once you get it, your intention is to keep it.
There's definitely places that open with that intention.
Oh yeah.
Seven Adams is definitely one of those places, but they actually achieved it.
Yeah.
That's when you get the Michelin teams together. It's when you push to, you're like, hey, we're aiming for this. Do you want to be a part of this project? But that equates to millions of dollars thrown into. That's how you end up with places like Aphotic, getting bankrolled by CEOs.
Yeah.
It all runs down to Playhouse, though. It's just elites Playhouse money.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, we'll throw X amount of million into the kitchen, into all parts of service, but we're aiming for a star, so that way we can bring in that revenue.
Yeah.
But that's just in some situations. But yes, some people will open restaurants just for that. For it's prestige. You get prestige, and with the star, with the Michelin system, then you get connections, and then you just start building from it. It's all power grabs.
It's probably just primarily like restaurant groups too. It's always nice to have like
investors.
Yeah, it's always nice to have one star that be like your crown jewel, and then be like, hey, this is our crown jewel. These are our other 5, 10, 15 restaurants, and they're all really good.
Michael Mina.
Yeah. So
QPA, Quince does that as well. They have Couturiers that generates a lot of the revenue, but they always have to have a flagship, which is the Quince. And like when you break down to the business aspects of it, it's not very profitable, but you have prestige.
Yeah.
So you get the socialites, you make the connections, then you start getting private events and building a team toward that. Because now Tusk even has his own private event company that's in addition to 3 other restaurants. Well, 2 right now, but soon to be 3 other restaurants. And to build that empire. And then you just go on. Then you end up like the Emerald Lagasse with your pasta line and your pan line and more and more.
Your Frontera chips.
Yeah. Gordon Ramsay, same situation.
Yeah.
Cheeseburger place in Las Vegas. Your Frontera chips. Yeah, exactly. And then you have your flagship in London, just building out or making a giant corporation. But the rating system in itself is weird. I mean, even to like if you want 3 stars, you have to have utensils for every different course. So at Quince we had drawers full of different utensils, and when we put up a new dish, different plates. So it's like you can't see the same thing often when you get into when you're trying to go for those higher rankings. But it just makes for this extreme amount of detail that needs to be attention to and followed through meticulously through every course. And it takes a absolute monster as a GM to remember those things. And it's an immense amount of stress as well. It's just like it blows you away because you're just like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
Like, are you serious? Like, I remember we had a $200 Japanese fork and knife combination from a forger that made him specifically for the Japan team, a forger, blacksmith that made him specifically for the Japanese team for the Public Coast Tour, which is a food tournament that they have every year for different countries. It's like the Olympics, but for food.
Yeah.
And this guy, Japan's country, made this knife and fork combination Damascus style. So folded steel of this knife, all uniform, just one single piece. And we used that for just like a middle course. Like $200 each for a piece of these equipment. It's crazy how much money goes into these places. And so, yeah, a lot of prestige into those things. And that's why people take it seriously and make it like a lifestyle and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, does that like really affect though?
It's like once you get to go ahead, sorry.
Like the everyday eater though. Like the everyday eaters, that would make people like I have really only eaten at one Michelin Star spot, I think. But I would like to go to more. You know, like I think State Bird's on there and these other things. So like I've
State Bird jumped to 2 stars as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'd like to go to those places, but you know, the cost and just really drives me away from those spots. It's just like, dude, I could get phenomenal food for half to a quarter of that price.
Absolutely.
And be extremely happy.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know, I'm not one of those, you know, Michi hunters that like
Star
needs to have this, the star chasers that like, I need to knock all these things off.
I kid you not, we had literally people fly in, come to our restaurant, take pictures of the food, take one bite, and go to the next course. Just so they can say that they've been there.
That's wild. Yeah. Those are also the uber rich. Yeah, it's also the uber rich. You know, the Epstein stuff. I'm just kidding. No, that's
seriously, it's like a lot of political leaders from other countries and their children that have an immense amount of money.
Yeah.
From hoarding resources.
Yeah.
But they have so much money that they'll just come in to say, oh yeah, I went there.
Yeah.
It happens all these 3-star places, and it brings money in, but it's just like, when we see that, we wouldn't pay attention to them.
Yeah.
People would come and be like, oh, I'm an Elite 24 Yelper. And we'd just be like, go suck a dick. We have 3 stars.
Yeah. We don't give a shit.
And so we're just like, cool. That's all we say. We say
that
cool.
That means nothing to us.
It means nothing to us. But then we get the people that are in the industry that are just like, and then we ball them out. And they're like, that's really cool to do because they're like, what? But, no, to your point, nobody really needs to pay this money to go eat these things or try these things. It's an experience.
Yeah.
We should go to Quince.
We should.
We'll do a thing. We'll go to the salon though.
Okay.
Well, we're not paying $300 and $400 a head, but instead we're going in to just taste some stuff and have some cocktails. So it's like, it's the casual version of this upscale version of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's your everyman. You know, your porter coming in off the street.
Oh.
You know.
I worked in the salon for the longest. Like most of my tenure was in the salon, and it was like 3 tables, you're a captain, and it is interesting the crowd that you would come through in that place. Like from I don't know how to say it, but porn stars to
adult entertainers.
Oh, there you go. From adult entertainers to there you go. From adult entertainers to how do you say when they come from other countries.
Oh yeah, immigrants or whatever.
No.
Or like what? Oh, you mean like
diplomats.
Diplomats.
It's from diplomats.
Okay.
So from adult entertainers to diplomats, you see it all across the board. But the bottom line is the common denominator is the amount of money they generate. And so it's interesting to see the different habits in people. And like me with a sociological background and social behaviors, my AA and my very esteemed degree
Yeah.
of 2 years of community college.
Yeah, degree, bro.
But it was really cool to get to see these people and their lifestyles and how they utilize, and then like when you know people aren't from money and seeing how you know they aren't from the way that they eat to, I don't know, it was just an experience for myself because I came from absolutely nothing, and now here I am serving these people, and I'm just like, so this is how it is.
Yeah.
And it's so strange to be on the other side of it. And so it's just like it's a cool sociology project as well. And one thing that I thought was super fascinating is just seeing how these people live. And it's like, fuck. People used to come in and be like, what's the most expensive champagne? And then I'll be like, oh, like we have a Cristal 08. And they'll be like, yeah, let me get that. No thought about how much money actually cost. I'm just like, fuck.
And they're doing half of it.
Yeah. No. Yes. Some
Yeah.
people would. Some people would just leave a whole bottle for us too. It was really cool. We have one guy that would come in. He would just he came in for the holidays and he would buy the kitchen in the restaurant a Magnum Grand Cru, and he'd be like, "Go ahead and drink it, taste it on me," and I'll be like, "Fuck." And that's the difference between working in just like a restaurant and then working in that kind of restaurant. Is that you get exposure to that kind of luxury. A bottle of wine that costs the same as a car.
Yeah.
In some cases, like a down payment on a house, and you're just like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
But for the everyday eater, definitely not necessary. But there was some people there that ate every day, though. Imagine that.
That's wild.
Imagine that, dude. $400 every day for dinner.
That's nuts to me, dude.
Dude, it's insane. And
that's my grocery. Tab, bro.
And then like you see this, right? I see this perspective, and then I see everyday people talk about billionaires like they're heroes, and I'm like, oh, my friend, they don't exist to you. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, it's two different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
They are two different worlds. The things that happen that we see on TV, complete ball game. We're watching sports. That's it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, nothing matters.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, oh, okay, got it. But how do you explain that? You can't really. You just got to see it for yourself, and you're just like, fuck. Nothing matters.
That's wild.
Yeah. Again, I digress. It's going to turn into a long episode, isn't it? What are we at?
No. That's pretty much we talked about. That's kind of the whole Michelin thing.
Michelin stars and some economics for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, yeah, it's definitely. I've always kind of wanted to go check out starred restaurants, but it's probably going to have to be in some other country just because of the price tag here.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Like, anytime I see a article or anything that's like, oh, hey, this is like one of the cheapest Michelin starred restaurants thing, it's always in Japan. Like,
oh, right.
Like it's always like it's some noodle house
or
in the back alley in some Japan.
You know what else too? In Bangkok, there's a 1-star issued to a street vendor.
Oh,
J-Fi.
nice.
And I tried to go visit her when I was in Bangkok. They're like, yeah, good luck. That's what they told me. I was like, can I walk in? They're like, we're booked for the next 4 months.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. All right, well, I'll just go to this noodle shop next door because it was also popping. And I was just like, all right. When I watched J-Fi and I took some pictures of her, but she just wears these goggles and she's just ripping on a wok, just doing full crab omelets. But she got a Michelin star.
Nice.
Yeah, and it put her on. Did good for her. And so, they do street vendors to esteemed restaurants.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see it at least.
Yeah, that whole there has to be like some complex equation or algorithm they have punched in, and they just like to the style, cost, just all these other things.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it always surprised me when really inexpensive places like get the mention from their guide. And I'm just like, oh. And then I'm just like, don't ever move up from that. And I would say 95% of the time they never do.
Right.
I think once you're on the list in some form, that's pretty much it. And then to move up in stars is it's extremely rare and probably very difficult to.
It's difficult. There's a lot of money that goes into it because I watched Quince go from 2 to 3,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like, oh. And I remember I joined on right when 3 hit,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of people just don't even want to deal with it. Like, there's a place called Qua that was on Columbus in San Francisco. When they went 2 to 3, they just closed down the restaurant because they're like, nah, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was more reasoning behind it, but at the end of the day, it's just like I think it was like we don't really want to do this.
Yeah.
And like I remember hearing people whisper, just like telling people that once you went 3, they're like, "You're gonna fucking hate your life."
Yeah.
And it was pretty difficult. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's a huge amount of pressure that you're living under, because any error has to be fucking dealt with like tenfold just to make up for the fact that there was an error made.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're just like, you can't fuck up. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And what were we talking about?
That's from the drugs after working at Quince.
Facts.
Facts. Get this. Let the steam out.
Anyway,
Yeah. Get
who
the
are
edge
you?
off. Who are you?
Where am I? Why are there lights so bright in here? No, yeah,
Charlie. Charlie.
Charlie in the trees.
Yeah. I was doing a Charlie and Chocolate
just
Factory
hear the,
reference. But that's
It's just like helicopters in my head.
that's the yards
Just like
there.
Maybe right here you can zoom into my face.
I
Hello,
always,
darkness, my
whenever there's
friend.
we had a chef who would do that when he'd get off of work. He'd pull off onto the side of the road and just stare for like 10, 15 minutes.
Dissociate,
Just associate
yeah.
with reality.
Damn, bro, that's
Again,
hot.
Al.
That's real.
His name was Al. Is his
Damn,
name Al?
Big Al.
Yeah. I went him and he was like, and I was like, oh, hey, my name is Saul, this and that. I shook his hand. They go, oh, this is Al. And he goes, yeah, my friends call me Al. And I go, oh, okay, Al. And he goes, you can call me Albert.
Damn.
I was like, Jesus. That dude used to break my balls all the time. But I think for like the first 2 weeks, he was just giving me shit. And then he realized he went on break really fast.
Uh-huh.
And then we had like 4 or 5 orders pop in. And I was like, oh, I'll just knock them out. And people were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'll just knock out the food orders. It's fine.
Yeah.
And I knocked them out. And this is a classic like cafe style menu.
Uh-huh.
And then he came back and he was like, what happened? And because he saw that I was wiping down the flat. And I was like, oh, the like 5 orders came in, I just knocked them out. And he was like, what? And I go, yeah, it's easy, dude. You just knock them out. And he was like, oh. And after that, it was like completely different.
Respect.
He's just like, oh, you're
go
the
right
hardest
over.
working dude in this whole place. I'm like, yeah, pretty much, man.
Yeah,
Like,
that'll
calm
get you.
down.
That'll get you far, man.
So yeah. So then he was just like, oh, you didn't have to call me? I was like, no, I'm not going to call you on your break. You don't break, home slice.
Go smoke a cigarette, bro.
Yeah.
Relax.
And this is a
Go dissociate. He's just like this.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but nah, that guy was an interesting dude. He had some crazy stories. Vietnam vet, all those dudes. Yeah, that guy was nuts. Anyway, that's actually not too bad of a place, I think, to stop it. I like the way I said stop it. Like, stop it.
Stop it.
This guy brought back getting tickled. Anyway, so tune in next week. We're probably going to be chatting about the bankruptcies. We were actually supposed to talk about it last week. Bankruptcies hitting restaurant industry and also wine estates, our wine industry. And then, of course, we'll probably talk about Red Lobster just for a quick sec.
And why isn't Gen Z drinking?
And why isn't Gen Z drinking? And then Diageo losing money as well.
Because of
yeah, but we were supposed to talk about it last week, and editing. It's a long edit. But episode 3 should be out by the time.
It's almost like we
before
have
this thing
ADD.
drops. Yeah, and we're just jumping all over the place, and we talk about it, I think, right in the beginning, and then we just don't go back to it at all. So
Hell yeah.
Bankruptcies. Anyway,
Let's abandon this idea.
What do we eat? Oh yeah, that's right. Oh hey, that one time I was drinking, I was like, oh shit. But anyway, and then we'll talk about that, and then but yeah, and then we'll just talk about other stuff.
Sweet. Sounds good,
man.
Well, thanks for joining us for this episode of Michelin Local Drunks Podcast.
Michelin, yeah. We're still waiting for our Michelin Star.
Yeah, sponsor us, Michelin.
Michelin, yeah.
We'll drive your tires.
We'll make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and be like, this is our...
Hell yeah,
please
gourmet.
rate us.
We can use this camera to do it.
We can do it. And then, but yeah, my name's Saul.
I'm Daniel.
This is the Local Drunks
Podcast.
And like I said, you can find us on Instagram, on YouTube. Just search Local Drunks Pod or at Local Drunks Pod. And then also our Patreon, Local Drunks Pod. I'm just going to be, like I said, start throwing up unedited stuff on there because it's taking me too long to actually get stuff on there.
It's a lot of stuff.
$5 a month gives you a little peek into what we do. And then we should be posting videos on YouTube very soon as well. But the first 2 episodes will just be on Patreon as far as video goes. And then we'll start throwing different stuff on there. Also, Spencer did agree to do the, we talked about it last week, and I think the week before that, but Spencer, one of our coworkers, said he's going to do the From My Parents' Cellar.
Hell yeah.
Where he's going to be talking about different alcohols. He's an alcohol enthusiast and collector. Remember,
I just call it an alcoholic.
Yeah, remember there's a fine line between alcoholic and enthusiast, and that line is knowledge. As soon as you get a little bit of knowledge in you, you're an enthusiast. You're doing it with passion now.
Touche.
You're just not drinking to drink. Anyway, thanks guys, and we'll catch you next week.
Thank you.
Signing out of the Local Drunks Podcast.